Oh, hey. So today, I'm going to be doing something a little different. A little short video here. Mostly want to try out something new. May notice the audio is a little different. Hopefully this works. I do know I do need to complete the trilogy in both the Crust Punk and the Gore-Grind series. They're outlined, but nowhere near close enough to being finished. So I wanted to use this opportunity to start another series. Yes, I know I still have to finish the black metal one. Got about 5 more in that to finish the rest of the world, as well as death metal. I think I have 4 or 5 more there as well. But yes, starting a new series. This is one I've hinted at a couple times where I wanted to compare 2 different identically or similarly named bands and their output. I'm really only interested in bands whose sound is somewhat similar, in the same realm at least, maybe not necessarily the same genre. But so obviously I'm not going to do the 2 Poisons or the 2 Slaughters or the 2 Warrants. And for all you new subscribers, there are many of you. Thank you very much. Especially since the initial Crust Punk one, my subscriber count increased in a probably quicker manner than any other video that I've had. So probably should have done another Crust Punk video to ride that wave. But alas, here we are. Now, the reason 2 different bands could have the same name is usually the lack of knowledge of the existence of the other one. Most usually this happens when both bands are coming up about the same time. They're both in the demo stages, so to speak. A lot of times a band who copyrighted, or is it trademarked? First is the one who ends up getting the rights, and the other one has to kind of change their name. In the US, we had like the 2 Slayers. The San Antonio Slayer went by SA Slayer almost everywhere after the LA, the Fantastic Slayer. Both of them are pretty good, but I mean the LA Slayers, especially their first album, 5 out of 5, Show No Mercy. And then there's even the 2 Overkills. The LA Overkill was more of a punk hardcore band. Obviously, the fantastic New York based. Which is it? I don't know why I've never checked this one out though. That cover's kind of intrigued me for a while. Also, did you know there was an earlier band from Britain called Iron Maiden as well? Strange that I didn't know that before, actually. But today we're going to be talking about Disgorge. Both of those are pretty well known, pretty darn well respected also in their respective genres. Now, they are rather similar to one another. They're both brutal death metal bands, but we'll explore their slight differences. I'm only going to cover their first album. I'm going to compare each band's first album to see which one I enjoy more, at least. You can have your own opinion, certainly, but you're watching this because I have an opinion, and I hope you go out and form your own opinion, listen to the entire albums on both of them, and continue with their catalog and decide which Disgorge you prefer. Right, so we're going to start with the Mexican Disgorge. In 1998, they released their debut, Chronic Corpora Infest. Not so certain what that means. It's Latin, I'm sure, probably medical related, because there's definitely some gore-grind, carcass especially, influences here. In the artwork also, hemorrhage, you could say as well. And they also utilize the intros from mostly horror films, maybe totally all horror films I heard. So much like Mortician, obviously, or Impetigo. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Pretty catchy stuff, groovy there, huh? So we're gonna move over to California, right across the border here. We also have Disgorge. Now, their initial release, Cranial Impalement from '99, is a little uneven, and I looked into it a little bit more closely, and I'd actually describe it as maybe a compilation of 2 demos, maybe an EP with a demo tacked onto it or something, but it's 2 different recording sessions, so it's uneven. I'm not going to use that as a representative, though later that year they did release, in '99 as well, another full length, She Lay Gutted. But that made me think, do you remember back in the day, many bands would release 2, sometimes 3, that's pretty rare, but full-length albums in a year, like decent named bands. And this goes back into when albums really started to first become a thing of popularity in like the late 60s, early 70s. But think about it. The Ramones did in the 70s, Motorhead did, Judas Priest did. Can you think of any other examples where it's quality stuff and they're actually LPs, not like re-recordings or re-releases or compilate, nothing like that? Can you put in some other examples where they're all of high quality, where it's not an up and down type of thing, where they just had that much going on that they could release, they didn't have to hold it back? Anywho, where was I? Oh, She Lay Gutted. So this Disgorge, also brutal death metal. You can imagine by the cover and the name of the band, I guess, even kind of gives it away. What direction you're leaning in here. It's a less of the gore grind, though, even though you might assume, based on some of the song titles that you look at or just the artwork here, this actually I would call proto-slam. This is kind of before slam death metal became a thing. So maybe think the first Devourment album definitely influences that, with maybe Deeds of Flesh also. You got some of the Southern California type of brutal death metal. Definitely that sound going on there also. You know what? Check in the comments. I'm going to put my top 10 proto-slam albums, all 90s stuff, before it was actually slam metal, death metal, when it was just the most brutal death metal. I went over most of them, maybe all of them, in my earlier US death metal series. Check that one out. How about Prophecy, Foretold, Foreseen? That was from '98. But don't think this was just a Texas thing. Obviously, there was a lot of this going on in the Northeast, whether it was the New York, the Philly, or even like the more Boston area death metal, their respective hardcore scenes. In the meantime, while you're reading through them, listen to the Discord. All right, so which one do you prefer? I'm going to tell you, I definitely prefer the Mexican Disgorge. I don't really lean much into the slam death metal nearly as much as I lean into gore grind. I just dig the whole gore grind shtick. I just prefer that over the shtick of the slam death metal. I don't know. Do you have any other recommendations? Should I continue this series? What other bands would you like to see in this? I certainly have a few in my head. I'm going to do a couple more of these, see how that pans out. And I was also thinking of doing a Patreon. What do y'all think about that? I was thinking what I could offer for that. And there are some albums and CDs that I have that, let's say, Discogs wouldn't let you trade on there. They're the ones that get the warnings. Maybe Spotify wouldn't carry their music, if you know what I mean. And maybe I could do a short video of me going through the booklets or some of the album artwork or something, because some of these are a little bit more rare, a little bit more difficult to find. The avenues to be able to sell them have been limited. Even eBay, I mean, you can get them on there sometimes, but a little bit more difficult. Let me know, what do you think about that? Let me know what you think about the sound of this work. Some of you may have noticed, yeah, old school. I've usually been outside, but the weather's a bit Baltic today, let's just say. Little kitty here was watching the snow earlier, but it stopped snowing. The sun's a shining, and that's why I thought, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of the natural light, record a video, and see how all this pans out. Any thoughts? Let me know. I appreciate it. So if you have any other ideas, thoughts, share them with me in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. My plan is to have one of these out every week if I'm going to be doing something short like this. Hold me to that, guys. Hope to see you soon.
That was hardly worth my time.